It's Monday Night Live. Welcome to day 2 of debunking the myths of paid speaking. For those who are tuning in on Pierre's page, I'm Kymone Hines, and I am a business coach and a minister, and partnering with Pierre. And so, for those who don't know Pierre, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, Pierre Quinn. Good to hang out with all of you. Former pastor turned professional speaker. And we're going to teach you some of the insights of how you can make that transition, or maybe just add speaking to what you're already doing in ministry.
Absolutely. Now, Pierre, let me give you a solo shot, just so that you can show people what your hoodie is. So let's go.
Oh, I mean, it's that time of year. It's that time of year. So we want to make sure that we spend we can get the priorities right as we start off. I'm here in the DMV, man. And I got all these Baltimore fans. I got all these Washington Commanders fans. I know everybody going to be talking junk on the timeline. But y'all got to come through. Y'all got to come through. Washington Commanders got to come through Detroit. So it ain't going to be easy.
Hey, man. Listen, these playoffs, and this is not the topic of our stuff. So if you're just joining us, we will be talking about debunking the myths of paid speaking and how you can get out there to be a paid speaker or to add speaking to your business or your income goals. So if you're on here now, share this with someone. But I do want to mention these playoffs are going to be pretty intense, because this next round seems like it's a lot of parity. So that's all I want to say. For those of you who are not football fans, don't click off. We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
All right. Couple of things I'd want to clear this up. All right. When you're jumping on, if you were on last night, put a 2. That lets me know this is night number 2 for you. If this is your first night watching this, put 1 in the chat so that we know it's your first time. All right. And even if you're watching the replay, if the second one you're watching, put a 2. If it's the first one, put a 1. I want to shout you out, recognize those who are on here this evening. Listen, Pierre, I just want to clear something up. You and I are working together on something that we are coming on here to share about. But this is not that thing. This is not the challenge.
No.
We are doing a speaking challenge, helping you to move your ministry into the marketplace, because as my shirt says, your ministry belongs in the marketplace. My ministry belongs in the marketplace. But this is not the challenge. So for those of you who think, oh, I did the challenge, no, you didn't. And there's so much more. So much more.
Yeah, I mean, if you've enjoyed us talking through the myths, on night 1 and then again on tonight, then you really gonna enjoy the challenge. And Absolutely. I want to encourage you to sign up for it while we still got the early bird situation going on, because the price shifts. So take advantage while the spot is open for you.
Absolutely. And I was telling someone about it today. They're like, only $47? Yes, absolutely. Only $47 to get access to a speaker and a trainer who can tell you how to navigate, how to do your next steps. And you don't just get training, you watch it on demand. And this is you literally getting live training. You can ask questions and you get opportunities for coaching, so you can customize the thing to what you're doing. So if I were you, I go to the link speakingchallenge.eventbrite.com and register. But we'll share more about that later on. All right. So let's recap for those who this is your first night. And if it is your first, put 1 in the chat. If you're back again for the second, put 2. We're talking about debunking some of the myths of paid speaking. We said myth number 1, I'm not famous enough, right? So a lot of people, Pierre, think about speaking. And by the way, do people really get paid to speak? Is probably a myth that sometimes people think, right? Paid to speak, like speaking. But it is it's a big industry, and it's an in-demand skill.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think you got to be real famous. You had to have a story. And last night you debunked that. I don't know if you want to give us a quick recap on that.
Yeah, man, listen, and if you haven't watched the replay of night 1, go back and watch night 1. We see Jamon Jemerson hanging out with us. This is his first night with us, man. Glad that you're here. It's really important to think through, and I mentioned 3 reasons why people hire professional speakers as I'm sharing this live right now on my social media. Number 1, you get hired because you've done something famous. So you've been a president, you have been a famous athlete, you've climbed Mount Everest, you survived cancer, you've invented something that has been groundbreaking or earth-shattering. And because of that notable activity, people want to invite you to tell your story or talk about how your insights interact with their particular industry. The second reason why people hire speakers is because you've worked at a notable place or you're connected to a notable organization, ex-Google, ex-McKinsey. You were part of a startup. You were one of the original members of the PayPal mafia, if you know about Peter Thiel and that whole Elon Musk and that conglomerate. So you've either done something amazing or you're connected to a notable organization that people recognize. The third reason why people hire speakers for their organization is you have an interest, you have a perspective, you have insight that directly connects with their need. The reason why I emphasize that third one is because a lot of us in our lifetime won't do anything. We might not do anything to become world famous, and we might not work for or be connected to an internationally known or well notable organization.
Right.
But all of us we all have insight, we all have perspective, we all have experiences that if we frame them correctly can meet the need of an individual leader of a team or of a wider organization if we frame the stories around those correctly. And all of us have an opportunity to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And by the way, I just shared that to my page. If y'all saw me looking, I was just sharing it. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. If you can as well, share this because someone is going to need this. Interestingly enough, I was talking to a friend of mine this evening, talking about what we're doing. And she is trying to figure out, what do I have? How do I offer it to people? And, her specialty is she speaks to people about, like emotional intelligence, and she works as a school counselor, and she was doing trainings all day for her job.
All day.
She was kind of saying, well, how can I position myself? And what I was telling her is, and this goes to what you're saying, there is some need that organizations have in that area of emotional intelligence, in that area of just understanding human relationships, that her skill set and her expertise intersects with that need.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this a lot during the challenge. So you want to make sure that you sign up for the challenge, and we're going to do a bit of a deep dive on how to find some of those crucial topics, how to take a look at your personal experience or your research or even your studies and find that intersection between what you know and what organizations need. It's quite often, man, that the thing is right under our nose. We do it so often, we do it so consistently that it is hard for us to sometimes think through, man, this could be a benefit to somebody else. So can I give a quick example of this?
Go for it.
So I served as a pastor for 7 years, student pastor during graduate school, like all of us, right? I was student chaplain for outreach.
That's what you put on your resume. We try to get hired. Student
man,
pastor.
that's it. Absolutely. I was a student chaplain for outreach. I was leading outreach projects to Chicago, so about 2 hours away from where we went to school, and having to recruit volunteers, having to coordinate programs, having to manage a budget, having to do all of those things. I put all of that on my resume, like you were saying, when I was looking for a job as a pastor. Sometimes we don't think, okay, do the same thing going forward.
Yeah.
So I pastored a church for 3 years in the Washington, D.C. area. The congregation on paper was about 700, weekly attendance 300 plus. My board, the volunteer leadership board for this church, was maybe about 50 people.
Okay.
Our income over $1 million. Local offering for the church was close to $500,000. And I started thinking through, how do I articulate that in a way that would resonate with the marketplace? And I was thinking, okay, so I pastored for 3 years. These are the numbers. Oh, okay. So I actually was the chair of a volunteer board of 50 leaders. Like, even just saying it like that, you chaired a volunteer board of 50 leaders. Saying that begins to unlock, managed a budget of $500,000. Consistently delivered messages to
over 300
people on a weekly basis.
Right.
We're not lying. We're not even stretching it.
Yeah, he's just telling the truth. Yeah,
we are just, I think, and I think in some ways we deify sometimes what we do so much that we don't see the simplicity of application. So what did those lessons tell me? It told me about conflict resolution. It's on creativity, storytelling, strategy. I learned so many of those things and leveraged so many of those things as a pastor. So now going into a bigger nonprofit or going to a Fortune 500 corporation or going into the public sector and talking about the same things. The concepts are there, the experience is there, just framing it in a way that now this audience can pick it up and run with it for their unique context. And I've been doing that for several years now.
I love it, man. I love it. And that kind of brings us to myth number 2, right? So first one was, I'm not famous enough. And here's where a lot of people get stuck, Pierre, right? And if y'all can resonate with this, put a yes in the chat. Maybe this is your reason. When you hear people like Pierre talk about speaking and others talk about speaking, you go, I'm not ready yet, right? Right. So I'll just start there. Or maybe you think, well, my topic is leadership. And if I look, there are 1,000 people talking about leadership. So it's either I'm not ready yet, it's too early, or everyone's doing it, so it's too late. Kind of talk to us about that myth, Pierre. Is it true? Like, not ready yet. I need to do XYZ, got to go get a PhD, or it's too late.
I love this. If you're hanging out with us and you're watching live or even watching a replay of this, we can come back and track some of your comments. I'd love for you in the comments to put something for me. Put your favorite salad dressing. Put that in the comments. Put your favorite beverage. If you have a beverage of choice, put that in the comments. If you have a favorite brand of clothing, put that in the comments. Anything like that, just drop that in the comments. Your favorite salad dressing, your favorite beverage of choice, your favorite clothing brand. Put all those things in the comments as I talk about this point here. Because Olive Garden salad dressing that we got come up in the chat. I got 3 bottles of that in the refrigerator right now.
Yeah.
So, I'm from Michigan. I'm a big fan of Verner's ginger ale. I like Ralph Lauren brand clothing, Polo, right? So let's go to the salad dressing. And last time you went to this grocery store, and you went down the condiment aisle, how many bottles of salad dressing, different variations did you see?
Oh man, just endless, right? Make your head spin.
It's endless. So you got Olive Garden, that's next to Ken's Steakhouse, that's next to Hidden Valley Ranch, that's next to the store brand that is really white labeled from one of the other companies that put theirs out there as well. And you would think, man, there's a lot of salad dressing in the world. What would make a person think? What would make a person believe that there's not room for one more?
Yeah.
Or even with lemonade. Are you a Country Time? That's old school. If you're a Country Time lemonade person, are you a Simply lemonade person? Are you a Chick-fil-A lemonade person? Are you a Jimmy John's lemonade person? Are you the Minute Maid? Remember the concentrate? Maybe y'all had money, but back in the day, they had this little frozen little cylinder, and you would open it up.
The water, man.
You cut it with water. And you would think, man, why would another company come out with a brand of lemonade? Well, just because you see something a lot doesn't mean that everybody likes it.
Okay.
Just because you see something a lot doesn't mean that it's meeting everyone's need. And just because you see something a lot doesn't mean that people aren't interested in trying something else from time to time.
That's right.
So if we look at it, we say, okay, the market is saturated. Whatever our topic is, the market is saturated. Okay, the market is saturated. Cool. Well, here's the reality. If an organization books me to speak for their event, maybe it's their leadership conference, maybe it's their annual symposium, it's a great chance that they're not going to book me 2 years in a row because they want variety.
Okay.
They want fresh faces. They want different perspectives. So yeah, I had a great time at the conference this year. Then next year, they're going to say, we really enjoyed Pierre. Who else do we have on the radar? Who else are we taking a look at? And that's where the other lemonade comes into play. That's where the other salad dressing comes into play. That's where the other clothing brand comes into play. So and even if we take major brands are a great example of this. No major brand has 100% control of a market.
Mm-hmm.
You may have big share, you may have notoriety, but as Kymone Jemerson put in the chat there on Facebook, it's room at the table. It's more than enough room for all of us. So that's one. Two, recognizing that not just keynote speaking, and in the chat, we're going to break down what we mean by professional speaking, that the professional speaking and training industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion.
That's with a B, people. B.
That's with a B. Think about if you Google, now we're giving a couple of the secrets away. If you Google what are the top organizations in your city or in your metropolitan area as it relates to employment, what organizations employ the most people, you're going to get a list depending on what size of the city that you live in, probably about 12, 13, 20, 30 different organizations. Well, if I'm one person, I can't hope to speak.
That's right.
For all of the opportunities that just one organization may have framed up.
Right.
So the opportunities are really endless for people who are committed to the execution of what we frame up for them. So yeah, market ain't saturated.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, and I was gonna say, and that's why we need to rethink. Maybe it's too early or maybe it's too late for me.
Yeah. It's so interesting, Pierre. I think, okay, so we bought a car a couple years ago, right? It's a black Insight, Honda Insight. Now, I don't see a lot of Honda Insights, but the same shape of car, I see it on a Honda Accord and a Honda Civic. And I see that car all the time now. I see it all the time. In fact, I almost opened someone's door the other day because I thought it was my car, right?
I've been there, bro. I've been there.
I was walking this morning in the neighborhood, and I know my wife was leaving after me to go somewhere, and I saw the car coming, and I was, there's a polite wave to a neighbor, and then there's a to my wife kind of wave. I was giving that wave, and I realized that was not my car. Because here's the point. Because I'm focused on that car, because I have that car, I see it everywhere. And I think for those of us who are even thinking about professional speaking, thinking about leadership as our topic, emotional intelligence, whatever the topic is, you are tuned in to see it. So you're seeing it everywhere. So you think everyone's doing it. It is super saturated. There's no more room for me. And what you're not realizing is what you're seeing is just a small drop in the need that there is for that particular topic.
So teaching human communication, business communication for a number of years, one of the core concepts that I would talk to my freshman students about was this idea of perception. And something falls in line with your perception, you become aware of it if it connects with your beliefs, your attitudes, your values, your needs, or your interests. Something falls into your line of perception, you pick up on it because your brain is in self-preservation mode. You're getting tens of thousands, millions of messages throughout the day. And if your brain tried to pay attention to everything, literally your brain would explode. Like you would go crazy trying to take in. So the perception filter says that if it doesn't meet my interests, if it doesn't meet my value, if it doesn't meet my beliefs, if it doesn't meet my need, if it's not directly connected to a direction I'm trying to go, then my brain will automatically filter it out and say that's not for you. You've had this experience before where people will say, hey, have you seen this show? Or have you seen this person on social media? Or have you tried this new thing? And you're like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And you're like, wait, how did you not know? It's all over. Like everybody's talking about
everybody's. Yep.
Doesn't meet my interests, my beliefs, my value, my need. It ain't connected to the direction that I'm going. So my brain saved me, said, nope, it's not important enough for you to pay attention on it. Well, in some ways, we've developed a way of hijacking attention. Social media is really, really good at hijacking attention. So we think just because we see, and there's a particular ad, Mig's got a reticular activating system. There is a particular ad on YouTube, and I don't know if you've seen it, but I see it all the time. And it's this workout guy. And
Which
he
one?
says, if you want to get in shape like me, stop doing dumb diets. If you want to get in shape like me, he's literally every time I open up a YouTube video, morning, noon, or night, this guy is there. Well, you would think this guy has the market cornered on exercise. He must have everybody in his exercise program. So it does not make any sense for, if I have experience as a trainer, if I experience in weightlifting or exercise, it wouldn't make any sense for me to enter into this space, because clearly this guy, who's everybody has seen his ads, has the market cornered. You would never say that.
Yeah.
But sometimes when we think about the thing that's the closest to us, or we have the interest in doing it, we talk ourselves out of it by saying somebody else is already doing it. So,
yeah,
what another way to connect this to, a lot of people who are connected to this challenge, pastors or ministry leaders, you didn't say that when it was time to be a pastor.
That's true. No, that is true.
You didn't say, oh man, there's too many of them out there.
Everybody's a pastor, right? Everybody going to seminary. Everybody wants to preach. Everybody wants to lead. Everybody wants to, no. Yeah. That's so good. That's good. So myth number one, we said it, right? It was, I'm not famous enough. And those are some of the things. And the reason why we're debunking some of the myths, even before we get to the challenge, is because we think that's the thing that's going to stop you from signing up for the challenge and making steps forward. You're thinking, well, I know I fit the description, but here's my disclaimer, right? I don't have as many followers. Everyone doesn't know me. But it's too late for me, right? Everyone's doing it. They got into the market before me. I thought about doing it. But then how about this one right here, Pierre? I'm not ready yet. That's the myth. And by the way, I think that myth goes for anything in life that's worthwhile that we think about doing.
So this myth of I'm not ready yet, if we're honest about it, if we checked off the boxes of everything that we've designed in our head that we think we need to get ready to do something, we would never do a thing. There's this thing that we practice in consulting. If you know anybody who is in management consulting, the idea is 80% of an idea is when you should take action. And you will figure out the other 20% along the way. I wouldn't even say 80% with the space that we're in now. I would say you won't really know if you're ready unless you start doing things.
Yeah.
And in fact, most people don't reach full readiness because readiness is more about choice than something you've made up in your mind. In fact, many of the things that you think you need, you won't get to the next thing until you make a decision to do the first things.
Yeah.
For example, money is a big thing. Right. I need money because I need to build out a website. I need to build out a website and I need to hire a graphic designer and I need to maybe I need to get Facebook ad, whatever it is you think you need to do. And once I get money, then I'll start putting the effort into my speaking business. Okay. So how are you going to get the extra money?
Yeah.
Because your salary is fixed.
Yeah. One day I'm going to bring all my expenses down and this one day.
It never happens. Things happen when you take action. That's what happens. And the whole I'm not ready piece, man, when I started, if you go back into the Wayback Machine and pull up my first website, oh my goodness. Oh, it was like two toothpicks and a bubblegum wrapper with some duct tape holding that thing together.
Who did it for you? Did you put it together?
My own. I got a little template and I little $20 template and fiddled around and spent $5 on Namecheap. To get a domain name and just cobbled it together. And that's the thing. When you're first starting out, sometimes we put more expectation on ourselves than other people do. If I'm hiring you, I know you're not a New York Times bestselling author. I know you don't have a huge ad agency behind you, because in many cases, I've already checked you out. I've Googled you, or LinkedIn'd you, I've YouTubed you. I know, and I'm not hiring you for that. I'm not hiring you because you've done something awesome. I'm not hiring you because you have worked at a really famous place. I'm hiring you because something about your message deeply connects with what my team needs to hear right now in my organization. And that's what I need you to do. I'm not hiring you to come and talk about your website, or talk about your speaker reel, or talk about your one pager. I'm not hiring you to do that. I'm hiring you to talk about the thing that you have indicated that you have some level of competence discussing. The other things you will continue to reiterate over time. Pull the best, brightest, most famous speakers that you know. We can go back in time and we can track how they started. We can look at their YouTube videos. We can look at their website. We can look at their books. We can look at their social media. You will see an evolution over time. What do all those people have in common? They just started.
That's right.
And
they
kept going.
You know, it's interesting. So there's a lady by the name of Mignon Francois. She is a cupcake collection. It's in Nashville, Tennessee. She started her entire business with $5, right? It's crazy. It's a crazy story. You got to look her up. But Mignon said she started in her own house using a mixer right there. And she said, here's the word for somebody, right? If you think I'm not ready yet. She said, there's some things you'll need one day, but you don't need them on day one.
Oh, yeah.
Some things you'll need one day, right? But you don't need them on day one. And I think that is that's the skill to be able to figure out. And I think, by the way, plug for the challenge. That's something I'm looking forward to in the challenge. Help us figure out what do we need on day one.
Yeah.
And let's separate that from one day. Because one day I do want that agency, and one day I do want all of this. What do I need on day one? Just to go back to your thing, that website that you said with two toothpicks and some bubble gum, were you able to book business off of that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's the thing. It's very important to not claim. No, and man, you could get away with it. We get away with this because we're pastors. We get away with it. We get away with it all the time. How do we get away with it? Man, Fiverr, man. We go on Fiverr and we got the most amazing poster, the most amazing speaker line, the most amazing, and people pull up to the church and like, wait. This flyer advertised something completely different than what I'm pulling up to. In this space, you cannot claim to be. You can't project yourself to be more than you are. One of the jokes that we have as professional speakers, we say it's really funny to us, speakers talking about other speakers, when speakers show up and they don't look like their headshot. Because that headshot is 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And you don't want to show the world how life has changed, so you produce or you give us an old headshot. Like that's an inside joke, and we talk about as speakers. No, update your headshot and show the world who you are at this point in time.
That's good.
And it's a question of just from day one, you just have to show people enough so that they can see that you have some level of competence. That's it.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking, let me see your back. Let me see the back of your business. Let me see your contract. Let me see how many people are working for your team. Let me see how many cameras, how many lights you got going on. Let me see everything. The things that we're really concerned about.
They want to know, can you help my
talk
team?
About X?
Yeah.
And give us to the outcome Y.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Listen, couple things. I want to tell you all about, there's something, hang on for this, because I want to show you all this. I haven't, Pierre, I didn't even clear this with you that I was going to show this.
It's gone. It's up now.
Yeah. So the challenge is January the 27th to the 29th. It's a Monday to a Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 9 p.m. Eastern. 2 hours each day, 3 days. That's $47. So that's about $8 an hour. All right. But more than counting it by the hour, think about the expertise you're going to get. You get to figure out what are the things I need on day one, as opposed to one day. And so the website is speakingchallenge.eventbrite.com. That's speakingchallenge.eventbrite.com. And I know you see January 27th, and your brain is telling you, okay, I'll just register on January 27th. But if I were you, I'd register tonight, because the early bird deadline is on the 15th, which is what, 2 days from now. And don't trick yourself that you're going to remember and come back in 2 days. Just go ahead and go to the website and register. While you're sharing this, Pierre, I want to pull up my screen and show y'all something.
Oh, he pulling up the screen, y'all.
Let me see.
He's pulling up the screen. I like what, as you're pulling that up, man. I like what Kymone said. Fear holds so many of us back from reaching our full potential and from taking a leap. It's so true. And it's this. I'm reading a book called It's Just Out of Reach. First Rule of Mastery. The first rule of mastery. And it's, you gotta let go of other people's opinions. That fear of other people's opinions just devastates so many of us. So a lot of us are thinking, man, if I jump on this challenge, or if I pursue this, if I go in this direction, what are people going to say about me? What's my congregation going to say about me? What are the ministry executives going to say about me? What are other preachers going to say about me? I promise you, whether you do something or you don't do something, sooner or later, either you will be a topic of conversation if you haven't been, or it's really two extremes, or people don't really care.
That's right.
People don't really care. You're not on their radar. They do not care about what you're doing. Or on the other side, you've already been brought up in somebody's conversation and they said whatever they were gonna say, and they moved down the road. So being paralyzed by somebody else's opinion is really one of those pieces that if you're going to advance as a speaker, you have to say, I'm going to push past that. And even some of the things that you told yourself.
Absolutely. By the way, now funny thing is I'm using my wife's computer. So now I got to enable all of the settings for this stuff. It's crazy. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm going to show that tomorrow night because I can't.
Yeah.
I can't get it. I can't get it. All right.
So
listen.
even about that, right? The fear of other people's opinions, too late versus too early. Too late and too early really fall into the bucket of somebody else's opinion. Right? I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. Then let me just even tell you how even us having this conversation is coming full circle. Because when I first started talking about leadership, and we'll talk about in the challenge where to test some of your theories and ideas of what you want to teach a wider audience. When I first was testing these ideas, people were asking me, why are you talking about that? And then it became, wait, you're talking about this so much. Do you have time to talk about other things at your church? Right? Just people on the outside.
Yeah.
Just really random, strange thoughts. And then as I'm making the transition, people are saying, oh, my favorite one. Oh, so you've left the ministry. And that's part of the video that we put out today. For me, it wasn't about leaving ministry. It's about expanding my definition of what it meant to minister to people. Now, years later, some of the same people who were saying, why are you talking about that? Why are you speaking in this way? Why are you outside of your pulpit? Why is that going to last? Why are you leaving ministry? Some of the same individuals years later, I put in the DMs. Yo, Quinn, can you tell me how to do this? Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you sign up for the challenge, we'll tell you everything that you need to know about expanding it this way. Oh man.
I thought I would share this with y'all, man, because I think this is important to understand. Let me move this banner right here because this banner is messing it up. All right. So if you go into Global Gurus Top 30, right? 30 world's best leadership speakers and trainers. Number 25, 2024 is this guy right here, Pierre Quinn, speaker, leadership coach, consultant. Leading While Green is right there, right? You see it right here. This dude is, and just to show you who's on this list, you got I was looking on this earlier, Simon Sinek is right here. John Maxwell is right here, right? And I just thought I would share that with y'all today, just so you understand. This is who we have, who is going to be giving us his time and his expertise to show us how you go from getting started, that day one, to to the one day where you are today. Dude, thank you, man, for sharing with us what you've learned in this journey that has allowed you to get to where you are right now.
Man, one of the things that really was a challenge for me early, because when I first said I want to pursue this direction, I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I was when we think about organizational culture, and when we think about even leadership, or even things around surrounding HR and experts in the field, nobody's, maybe now, people aren't my age. They don't go to people who are 30. They go to people who are 40 and 50 and 60 and have done all these amazing things. So I was telling myself early on, man, it's too early.
Yeah,
I need to get some more wins under my belt. I need to get some more.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Experience under my belt. And once I get that under my belt, I can put a more compelling argument of working with me out there. But here's the truth. No matter when you start, there's somebody coming behind you. There's somebody who does not have what you have. They don't know what you know. They haven't been where you've been, and they're going to learn from the journey that you take. So even if you say it's too early, I'm not ready yet, whatever the topic is, there's a level of understanding that people coming behind you need to pick up. And if you're saying it's too late for me, oh, come on. We know all the stories, all the motivational speaker stories of when Colonel Sanders started KFC, and when Sam Walton started Walmart, and people who graduated when they're 80 and 90 years old. We're really just falling in line with somebody else's opinion that it's too early or it's too late. And over time, those opinions don't really matter. What matters is when you take action, and take action to push against some of those myths.
Absolutely. Hey, just put that back up, man. Just start.
All
right. This is day 2 of our 3 myths that we're debunking. And just so I could clear this up again,
this is not the challenge.
This is not the challenge. Let me pull my mic forward. This is not the challenge. This is just us coming on to get you ready for the challenge, to let you know what's happening. And so the challenge is January the 27th to the 29th. It's a Monday to a Wednesday. 2 hours each day. Training, coaching, resources, a community. You get asked questions. You get to pick the brain of one of the top 30 global leadership gurus, and to find out how can I move my message out there, whatever that message is. Maybe part of that is clarifying the message that you have. So go to speakingchallenge.eventbrite.com, register today so that you don't miss out. You don't allow yourself to put it off and then forget, and then the early bird's gone, and then it's like, okay, no, how about take action now? Let's use that new year energy and take action now.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back for one more day, one more myth that we're going to be debunking tomorrow. And that myth, Pierre, is what?
What was it?
Is what we're going to share tomorrow.
Very good question.
It's what we're going to share tomorrow. All right, so myth number 1, I'm not famous enough. Myth number 2 is I'm not ready yet, or it's too late. Is that timing myth. Myth number 3 is,
I know myth number 3, but I can't say it. I actually do know it.
Yeah, but we'll share it tomorrow. So 7:00 Eastern, hop on with us. We'll share that myth number 3. You're going to get some value. Listen, if you just come into the lives, you're getting value. And imagine if you're getting this in 30 minutes on a live, which you could get in the challenge on Zoom, getting to ask questions for 2 hours each night. All right. So y'all have a great rest of your day. With that lion shirt, trying to get that in the picture right there.
Oh, because you mentioned challenge, and all of those Washington Commanders fans got a challenge. Y'all got a challenge. Come see us.
All right, y'all. Let me see. I'm probably a Commander fan. Myths. I'm not famous enough. I'm not ready yet. It's too late. Yes, Kamal. So tomorrow, you said we have to stop talking ourselves out of success. Tomorrow, we'll be right back here. Share this live. If you're coming on even on a replay, answer the questions as you're watching it through replay. All right, y'all. Have a great rest.